back, guys. We had a great first 3 sets, but that was only the beginning. We've got a lot more coming up.
Indeed we do. And you know what the motto of the day is?
What's that?
I have to give a quick shout out to Nesca because finally someone used all the player names and went for it. Stop dreaming, wake up and be happy. It's not a trap. TaeJa and Squirtle are going to shine today. Wow, I like that a lot.
I actually didn't see that tweet. I need to retweet that.
That was pretty cool. So that's the motto of the day. That is the story here. And so far we had some really amazing games. I really loved how Squirtle approached the Terran versus Protoss on Cloud Kingdom. Now we're heading into a TVT. Here we see our 2 contenders. It's TaeJa and Happy. Happy losing in game number 1 against Shine. TaeJa on the other hand with a win already.
This is going to be a pretty cool Terran versus Terran on Entombed Valley. I love how this map can play out because you can use any style here, but mech ends up being the most common. When you have mech versus mech on a map like this with the way that terrain works, there's a very open middle of the map. On the edges are very clumped up, very narrow. So it's all about positioning here. The watchtower is ever so important in this matchup, especially.
TaeJa is ready, Happy as well. Both of them are good to go. Entombed Valley is the map. Here at the GSL, up and downs. Things are about to get serious. Our first mirror match of the day is going live. TaeJa versus Happy, the GSL with Elon Wolf. Our Team Liquid player chose yellow in this matchup, and we have him at the bottom left of Entombed Valley. His ID.
Liquid TaeJa.
TaeJa with a win in his first game is 1-0 in the group now. Up against a fellow Terran player. Another one of Reyna's Raiders. Starting to the top right, cross positioned. We have
AGIM Happy.
Whenever one of Reyna's Raiders on the Hyperion had a dispute, they would actually just play StarCraft in 1v1 against each other to solve the problem. That's what's going on here. Who gets the last slice of pizza? Alright, let's 1v1 for it. Terran versus Terran. No vultures allowed. And so far, TaeJa grabs the barracks. And Happy, on the other hand, looks like he wants to go for Command Center first.
You know, TaeJa played against Flash in Pro League, and it was a great game. Flash, in the end, the victor. But TaeJa playing really well. He was a little bit... Game. Yeah, it was just that TaeJa didn't seem to realize that there was this heavy air transition coming from Flash. So he had a few Thors, but he didn't really have enough. There were, of course, other couple of things that went a little bit bad in the game for the Team Liquid player. But it was just a great Terran versus Terran overall. I really enjoyed to watch it.
Whenever there's a Terran versus Terran on Planet S, man, you know you're going to be in for something exciting.
And now we have TaeJa with the gas, a lot faster than Happy, who, as you pointed out, Wolf, is going for the Command Center first. We have him now with the first barracks. So really different styles here. And for TaeJa, it's a little bit annoying that Happy is positioned cross on the map. This means that if he goes, for example, for a Banshee play or whatever, he's going to arrive a lot later. And he scouts everything. As he is to be in the main base, even sees the gas for Happy.
Yep. Very aware here.
TaeJa might go for a Reaper here. Goes for attack left right away.
He may want to get some additional scouting information. That's actually really interesting what he's doing. It also allows him to get very fast stim. He is going to go for the Reaper. This is actually really interesting that he would do this on cross positions after he already scouted that it was CC first. Because by the time the Reaper gets there, he should be able to be ready for it, but it all depends on where he positions his Marine. If he sends his Marine across the map, for example, you know, this is actually so interesting. He's got an SCV coming with the Marine. He may start to bunker if he can keep that SCV alive.
Needs to be very careful though. The first Marine is out. Here comes the Marine, and the Reaper is also on its way now. We have the second gas coming here for TaeJa. He's on 2 gas already, 2 refineries in just a second.
And they both start factory at the same time, which is always funny when you go for gas before expansion. When your opponent goes expansion first and you both have factory at the same time, that just goes to show how fast the Reaper can really put you behind as far as tech goes. And TaeJa is actually just... He's floating down here with his Marine, and with a Marine and a Reaper, if he micros perfectly, he could potentially kill all 3 of these Marines, but I just don't see that happening. In fact, the Marines are just sitting at the top of this ramp.
Yeah. He's at least able to deny mining at the natural for a
Yeah,
little
he can
bit.
kill one of these SCVs.
Yeah, and there it is. Trying to run.
Really nice micro by TaeJa. He knows the Marines are there waiting for him, so he's just going to leave it down here. He's even going to take out some more hit points here.
It also means that right now, Happy cannot produce SCVs from this command center. He stopped because he knows, well, if another SCV comes out, then I'm going to lose it. Now that the Reaper retreated, he starts to, he starts his worker production again.
Yeah.
But this is just buying him a couple of seconds where he can get his own command center out, where he can get the double SCVs. So that's really, really important for him here.
Yeah, indeed it is. And, you know, consider the starport timings now lining up for both players. We are going to see TaeJa go into, it looks like Cloak Banshees with the double refinery he's had for long enough. He's going to have about 250 gas now that the starport is done, so he can have Cloak and then a slightly delayed Banshees. He's going to go actually Viking first, interestingly enough.
TaeJa has the gas here to go into Banshees, but yeah, with the Viking first, he will of course be able to just shut out everything that comes from Happy's starport. Be it a Medivac, be it a Banshee on his own. But TaeJa is having a lot of gas here that he didn't use. He's nearly going up to 300.
He may make a Raven, you know, with that tech up after the Viking is done. I think that would make sense.
He would be really safe against Banshee players as well. Usually if you go for the Viking and then you also start a Raven. And he actually did line it up now in his starport, and there we have it on the production tab.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Hellions on the Watchtower are going to make this a really annoying position to attack for Happy. He has to pre-split his units, and then TaeJa just walks away saying, you pre-split your units for nothing, I'm out of here. Hellions are fast.
TaeJa finds himself in a really good position economy-wise. He's already a little bit ahead in the Harvest account. Is also getting the Raven out now, starting his additional attack. We have him with the tech labs on the production tab. Even getting a missile turret here. He's playing this super, super safe at this point.
Happy is going mech. He's switched his barracks, making a second factory. And meanwhile, back at home, a scan for Happy reveals that TaeJa, at least not yet, has gone for mech. He's still making Marines, and he could make a switch himself.
You know, one of the things that we didn't touch on too much just yet is that Happy has this third orbital in his main base. And this will really help him quite a lot. He can now go and produce triple SCV at a time if he wants to. He has those extra mules too. And he even flies it over to get immediately access to the third mineral line. So, yeah, well done. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Happy is pretty ahead in this game, considering that TaeJa has no way of stopping this now. You know,
TaeJa just doesn't know. That's his biggest problem.
If he knew even, it would be tough, but...
Could you double check just in case we missed it? No, he doesn't.
He doesn't know. He has no idea, especially that, not that it's at the third, but he doesn't even know that it exists just yet. And this is he actually going to try to run in here? I think that was a misroute. Loses the Hellion.
TaeJa gets now his own orbital, or his own third base, but the orbital is ready for Happy. Extra mules, extra SCVs, not using all of them to build SCVs now. Is he actually? No, he's not supply blocked. I'm not quite sure why he's not producing SCVs. He definitely has the minerals to do so. He doesn't have enough SCVs just yet. He should get a lead here, but he only has one SCV queued up. That doesn't look like a conscious decision to me. That looks more like he is currently missing a couple of his SCVs producing. TaeJa is heading his workers a lot better.
Yeah, a lot better, and it's something that Happy will be able to catch up with his third orbital pretty quickly on. And
well, he should, but he's only producing one SCV once again, so
yeah,
at this point he has two. I'm not quite sure why that is.
I mean,
I'm a bit surprised because he should be able to get ahead of TaeJa in the Harvest account, and currently he is still behind by 5 SCVs.
That's a little bit odd.
He has the mule, you know, but now he's not producing any SCVs anymore. He's like always missing a couple of timings here, and he's already banking up a lot of minerals as well.
It's just forgetfulness because, I mean, he has the minerals, and he's not supply blocked.
TaeJa's macro at this point is definitely a little bit better.
However, I still feel Happy is ahead because his composition is better, and he's also had this third base for so much longer.
The mule itself already is doing a lot.
Just finishing his orbital right now at his third base, whereas Happy has, right now, there are already a total of 12 Hellions going towards that third base, which, by the way, is relatively undefended. He's got 3 siege tanks there, but he actually just forced his way and he could kill so many of those SCVs.
But just think about how much farther Happy could be ahead if he would have hit every single SCV perfectly. Then he would have the SCV lead, would be way more ahead. So TaeJa right now is also just getting his armory, he's getting the next factory there. We have Marauders, he's going into +1 armor now. Stim is nearly completed, he has a good position, sieged up, defending those 3 bases, but the map definitely belongs to Happy at this point.
Yeah. The production tab for for TaeJa is insane. It goes all the way across our nameplate. We're having some trouble reading it. You can see it on your screen as well. It's like he's just making so many different things right now. And this is what you have to do when you find out your opponent's going mech a little bit late. You've got to react. We're going to see a Hellion drop, which is pretty cool. This is a way to avoid those siege tanks at the choke point really easily. Just drop in there. There's nothing. There's no turret. There's no sensor tower. He's actually going to be able to get in here and get probably about 6 SCVs or so. This is great for Happy if he can make this work. He's actually going to the main instead, which is even going to be potentially more effective.
If he dodges the missile turret, and it looks like it, but Happy is up against a few units that are rallied into the main base as TaeJa identified the threat and is now making sure that the Medivac has to retreat, and the Viking is already on the prowl.
Yeah, he should probably just drop here at the third, but it looks like he's not paying attention. He's going to lose every single Hellion. Meanwhile, TaeJa also takes control of the watchtower. Very map aware here, not losing anything to that drop.
TaeJa is starting to be ahead by quite a big margin. This, I don't want to harp on this because I just want to point out that the difference between the two of them. We mentioned that TaeJa is just one of the big Terran players, or maybe the biggest one in Korea right now, and his macro is just shining so much. With the opening that we had, Happy should be far ahead in economy, but he's actually behind right now. He has less harvesters, and TaeJa is the first one to go into a 4th base. Happy is of course trying to brew a bit more pressure of 3 bases, but still, even the number of SCVs that they have are still in TaeJa's favor. He hit the 72 earlier, then stopped producing, and Happy was always missing worker production. So the macro is just better. In a Terran versus Terran, it's a lot about the positioning and the unit control as well, and this is where Happy now can turn things around.
Yeah.
But the macro battle itself definitely goes to TaeJa in this game.
TaeJa, you know, Happy did not see that Sukius is going around to potentially flank him. Now he stims really early, and the point defenses are down. This is not going to be a battle TaeJa actually wants to commit to. Is he really going to?
He's taking down a lot of siege tanks here, and he has a decent split. So many Marauders that are doing extra damage. He's losing them in the end, and is now finding himself a bit behind in supply. But +2/+2 is nearly completed. He reduced the tank count of Happy to 9, and getting this mech army back into business is not going to be easy for Happy. He has the air domination, he has more supply.
I just feel like now
he's caught in the map.
He's with his reinforcing tanks, so he should be able to put a contain on TaeJa. TaeJa's trying to take that 4th base. So that's something that Happy, unfortunately for him, has not even tried to scout. If he saw this, he could actually be shooting at this right now. Already, he could be positioning himself. He could have even had his Vikings over there to deny it from flying, but Happy has a much better position. But again, the macro of TaeJa's already evened out the supply in seconds.
And TaeJa realized that he can't keep up with the Viking production of Happy. He's going into Thors to push those Vikings back, and he still has the siege tanks in position. Here comes the Thor. The point defense drone is still active, but Happy realizes that he has to back off with his air units.
And Happy is in a position now where he's got the air dominance. TaeJa has to scan. That's more mules.
TaeJa has the 4th base.
I heard a Reaper shot somewhere, but I can't watch it. Must have died. I like that Happy is using, actually, his Hellions to tank siege tank fire whenever there's a scan. But TaeJa takes a supply lead. Now he's got a 4th base that's uncontested, mind you. The Happy is not scouted. This is a big overstep by him not scouting the space. Now he's going to throw some Hellions away, try to buffer for the Marauders, but these Vikings are not too useful now. The Thor's here, the sensor tower is there as well.
Yeah, Thor is here, and they're taking down Vikings. That's exactly what happens, and we have a small force of bio units running towards the top right, picking off reinforcements. He's already on 2-2, and he just can wait. He can wait there, and whatever happens, if Happy sieges off and goes back, he can intercept the army. If there is a second wave of reinforcements coming to the bottom left, TaeJa can immediately take them down. He's in a great position, taking a supply lead, an economy lead, and an upgrade lead.
TaeJa may try to go for a sandwich attack here and actually just clean up this entire force. He's got the army supply to do it. He's got enough forces. He's even got a Thor coming in to lead the charge. TaeJa's in that Thor, and here we go. Does not get to drop the Thor off, but here come those bio forces, and this is going to sandwich Happy and totally crush his entire army.
His army is gone. The Thor did not survive, but the rest of Happy's army also died, and this was exactly what he was going for. 4 bases for TaeJa, a great economy, building his bank up again. If he hits the maxed out army, he's at 170 against 144, plus 3 attack for his bio units is about to be completed. He's even going into a 5th command center now. This is looking great for the Team Liquid player.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but TaeJa is just way outplaying Happy here in this game. He's just ahead in every way. He's hitting his macros so insanely well. I mean, when their supply is even out, TaeJa has like 30 more supply every time after a battle. It's just Happy is not quite able to spend his money as efficiently. He doesn't have the gas at that 4th base that TaeJa has to keep making units because he took his 4th so late. He didn't attack TaeJa's 4th. That was an opportunity he had that he missed without scouting.
Happy just took the 4th. He had to kill one of the... Actually, is the Marine still alive? Can you double check? No, okay. He killed the Marine. Now he's going into a planetary fortress, whereas TaeJa has another orbital. TaeJa is in a great position here. It's his game to lose. He does everything right so far. And now we have him running in, stimming in, picking off the commands that are trying to... The siege tanks are not siege up yet. He's taking down the tanks. There's a Thor in the mix as well. Has to back off, but the damage has been done. No 4th base for Happy, at least no mining.
Yeah, and the Commander's taking some shots here. He will not kill it, but I mean, now it's 4 base against 3, and TaeJa's army is just getting better and better. He's making it the perfect composition. He's not really having very many medevacs. He's just using his resource that he has, that extra bank, to just make Marauder after Marauder after Marauder, make it so his raw damage output is actually just better. And he's now Happy is trying to find an opening. He's trying to find a way where he can punch through the bioforces that are spread out, but now TaeJa's putting everything back together.
The big problem for Happy really is that his economy is so much worse. We have the 5th base now ready for TaeJa, and Happy would love to go for the transition that Flash used against TaeJa, going into air now, especially with the Viking count that he has. But it is TaeJa who suddenly decides that it's time to go for the double starboard, for 3 in total, and then with the bank that he has, he can do whatever he wants. He can go into battle cruisers, he can just outnumber the Vikings of his opponent. He's in a great position, always trying to deny as much mining as possible, even though Happy by now secured himself the 4th base, but TaeJa's still ahead in economy.
Happy, with that Viking lead that he has, I think he should try to use it. I think he should try to do something a little bit risky and try to go into Tech Lab Star Force or something, because those Vikings are actually just dead weight right now. They have not been useful very much at all against this type of bio-heavy competition. Yeah, he's cleaned up a few medevacs here, but now look at the Spores. That's only half of TaeJa's army. The other half is still putting pressure on the 4th base, which Happy is not even mining from. He just dropped mules there. I
like the sneaky base for Happy, on the other hand, that he has at the right side. He's not mining from this position just yet, but he can drop mules later on. This might give him an edge. Once again, TaeJa is moving in with his 3-3 upgraded Marauders, trying to pick up a few tanks.
They're just very positional. And TaeJa's never being as cost efficient as Happy, but since he has the better economy and he knows it, and he's known he's had it for a while, it makes sense for him to play just like this. He's not worried about the Vikings until he sees a Banshee, until he sees a battlecruiser, which he knows his opponent can't afford, and he's not worried about the air.
He already has his own starport set up, so he can try battle this. He's not falling into the same trap that he did when he was playing in Pro League.
You're so right. And now he's just going to crush this tank force. And yeah, the planetary will survive. It's a planetary, but he's got the ability to continue to pressure. Now he's moved his siege tanks closer. They're now in range of that planetary.
His 50 supply ahead. And here comes Happy trying to crush this force, but his trade will not be cost efficient, not at all. TaeJa is doing so much damage, taking down SCVs, Hellions, and siege tanks. Happy was never really mining from the space at the right side in the center of the map. He can't even drop mules there. He's not even sure if TaeJa saw it or not, but TaeJa is rallying one army after another to the top right, and this is just an endless stream of attacks that Happy eventually will have to submit to.
Those 10 Vikings were just never really useful for Happy as well. You know, they're useful positionally at first, but then TaeJa's had so much army that he couldn't outposition him, whether he had the vision or not. Look at him. Look at him fly there. GG.
TaeJa with the 2-0 in the group. He shows how dominant he is these days.
He certainly is, man. TaeJa, he may be the Terran that Terrans are looking for right now, to be the hope for their race and a time of darkness.
You know, the next game that we have is going to be a really good one. I'm looking so forward to it. We have Shine up against Squirtle now, and I really like this because together with TaeJa, right now, I feel these 3 players are the top contenders for the top 2 spots in the group, with what we've seen so far. I mean, Dream wasn't really able to show us a lot because of how well Squirtle played in the Cloud Kingdom map. We had Trap against TaeJa, a little bit unlucky in the early game, but I feel that these three players have shown us a very great first game in the group, and if these matches were any indication of how they are going to play the next few games that are coming up, then they are really, really the best player or the best players in the group today. We might be surprised by one of the players who lost his first match, but now Shine versus Squirrel, that should be really a treat.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome actually, because we talked about Shine's dominance in the Zerg versus Terran matchup and how it seems to be the one he's doing the best in, but not only am I curious to see how he'll do against Pros, but I want to see how Squirtle is going to do against a Zerg. We saw him do amazing contain against Dream already, and now the matchup is completely changed. We're flipping around, and we talked about this before. Shine being the only Zerg player in the group means that on Antigua Shipyard, Squirtle probably has one specific strategy plan, and I'm curious to see what that is, because right now the way this matchup plays, the Protoss is the one who chooses the strategy 90% of the time. It's going to be Stargate. Is it going to be Void Ray Stargate? Is it going to be Immortals? Is he going to try to take it fast to the base? Probably not in Antigua, but you know, Squirtle has shown great Warp Prism play in the past with Sentry drops, even the late game Sentry play, or rather Warp Prism play with Storms.
The big decision as a Protoss player is do you want to try to hit a 2-base timing? Do you try to take your opponent out early on, or do you go into a third base? And you can take the third base. It's difficult, but you can pull it off. There's always this phase in the game where the Protoss player is trying to defend this third, and if he can pull this off, then he has a little bit of a better grasp of a later game. But in the beginning, the main question is 2-base timing or attempting to try the third, or trying to do a bit of aggression on 2 bases and then fall back and take the third one. But as for Shine, it's more about saving its basics. But we're gonna find out now. We're heading into Antigua Shipyard. It's time for Squirtle versus Shine, the GSL up and downs with Paul and Wolf.